and we're live, on Facebook and YouTube, and we're waiting for LinkedIn to connect. Man, we've been friends for almost 2 years, coming up in a few months, and I just want to say, man, thank you for always supporting me and always being there for me. But also, thank you for showing up for this podcast series, having 30 speakers, and I'm really excited about being able to have this conversation with you today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to do this with you, man. It's been a long road. We've accomplished so much already, and I can't wait to see where the future is going to go for both of us and the people we're going to help. So, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna hide you, and then we'll get into the podcast part. All right, everyone. Thank you again for showing up to another episode of Show Up to Win presents Show Up the Hill. This is episode 29. I have one more episode after this one left to accomplish my goal of 30 episodes this month. And so I'm your host, Dwayne Morton, Mr. Show Up to Win himself. And I have an amazing guest, a really great friend in JD Lesky. And I'm going to bring him up right now. What's going on, big man? How are you?
Hey, hey, all right. Glad to be here. Excited to do this program with you today, buddy.
Absolutely. And so what I'm gonna do, man, is I'm just gonna read your bio and let you receive it, and then we'll have a little conversation about it and just see how you were able to receive. Jeremy J.D. Lesky is a seasoned entrepreneur, international best-selling author, and dynamic public speaker. After navigating the peaks of business success, the depths of entrepreneurial burnout, and a life-changing health crisis, JD pivoted his focus toward building agentic digital workflows, and technological community platforms. Today, he coaches individuals worldwide on how to implement the rules, healthy boundaries, and strategic mindsets necessary to ensure their companies serve their lives, not the other way around. All right, man. So welcome to the show, man. How did that land? Especially those first two lines.
Yeah, it's when you write these things up or when you're talking to people about it, it's one thing, but when you hear it read back to you, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. It's almost like somebody is just constantly reminded, this is what you do. This is and it's awesome. And so I'm glad that you did that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to jump into these questions, and my first question is going to be for men's mental health awareness. What do you feel like we're doing correctly? What do you feel like we missed the boat on, and then what do you feel like we can do better?
Uh, well, there's a lot that's been changing over the years, as we have seen in my lifetime. When I grew up under the John Wayne mentality. That's what my father was under. You don't cry, you don't show your emotions, you bottle it up, and you go do what you have to do. And I love that nowadays, especially, we're really encouraging that with men. I see it a lot with women, of course. Women have usually always been open, and I see a lot of groups on that because they're more open. You jump into a group with women, and they'll share everything and anything. Compared to you jump into a room with guys, a lot of times you have to really yank anything out of them, just the smallest things. And I'm seeing that shift. And one of the things for me is I did 10 years in prison, and I grew up with that mentality, like I was talking about, Father, you don't cry in prison, you don't do other things. And now I am a person, especially at church or anything like that, or show me something like Old Yeller, and I am just full of tears, and I'm blubbering, and I got the snot bubbles, everything else. I mean, I don't even care, and that's really good. It's freeing, and it's awesome that they do that. And now we have more coaches that are emerging that are helping men with being able to communicate this more and more. And so I believe that we're really hitting the mark right now with opening up and starting to transition for a lot of people that have the mentality like what I grew up with of don't show those emotions, don't do these things, because we need to show those. We need that communication, and really that's what makes us stronger, not weaker. And that's the shift that has to switch for a lot of men. So hope that helps out a little bit. I don't.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer, man. I was gonna say thank you. Um, so you talked about doing time, and what significant change was it? What was the biggest significant change for you when you came out? to be able to come out to the world and be able to adapt?
Oh gosh, there was a lot of things. It's a whole different mindset. Um, I think the biggest adjustment for me was simple respect. So, one of the things that they basically instill in prison, your character and respect. And if you disrespect somebody and they take the slightest things and turn it into something that could be a deadly altercation. So you have to be aware of things. You have to be respectful of people's spaces, all this other stuff, because it could turn into something. Out here, people are just oblivious to other people a lot of times, and they just do what they do. They're genuinely disrespectful, sometimes cutting people in line, doing things they don't mean to. It's just that they're not thinking about other people, and do a lot of things like that, especially driving. You see a lot of people, they'll cut you off, do all these other things. Stuff like that that was actually very difficult for me when I came out, because I would get angry at that. Because, like you said, you're in one mindset this whole time where you can't do these kinds of things around people, and then you come into a world where everybody's just doing these kinds of things. They talk to each other however the heck they want to, and do all these other things, and you're just sitting here going, you would have never said things like that to another person in this environment over here, and now people are going and doing that, or treat somebody a certain way. So that was the big adjustment coming out with that and shifting. So it was actually a good thing in prison, learning character and respect. So there are actually some good things you can take out of prison,
Yeah.
and that was one of it for me, was dealing with that. But I've adjusted, and yeah, it's where it's yeah.
So one of the things that you are very well at doing is the humor part. You're able to add humor and things into your story, and I think that's also part of why me and you get along. Is there's this part of you just being so positive that you're able to even spin some of the stuff that like would make more people cry. And in the book that you're featured in, what is it, 4 out of 5 times that you're
Yeah.
scars to stars. What what is that superpower where you're able to bring humor into a place where most people don't see it humorous, and you're able to see another way of being grateful, but also you put a spin on it so it doesn't land as difficult to other people?
One of the things is it's kind of been it was my coping mechanism in life. When I ran into things, now I grew up as a very angry kid. My father had a quick temper problem, like I said, the kind of John Wayne mentality, and so I grew up with that, and so I needed something that could help relieve a lot of that anger, and especially during tense situations where things seemed like they were going to go out of control, and it's my way of taking that pause, stepping back, saying, okay, this isn't as serious as I'm making it out to be. Let's make a joke about it. I mean, mentally, and I'm not sitting here now consciously making this checklist. It's just that what my mind does, and says, hey, let's make this a joke. Let's lighten this up, and then go back at it with a different mindset. And so adding humor in with things, it's a natural thing that happens for me as kind of start developing as that defense mechanism. In serious, tense situations, I am that person that will make those jokes tastefully. I'm not going to come in and do something, as you know, that's completely out there. But it really, when you make a simple joke during those kinds of situations, it changes the mindset of everybody around you. In combat, I can imagine it's the same thing. Not that I've been in combat, but when they're in that situation and the enemy is coming down and you're pinned down, everything looks like it's going. Somebody who makes a joke during that time shifts the mindset of everybody else there, going, okay, it's a dark humor, it's a dark time, but at the same time, it gives us the mindset that we can use to overcome the certain problem that we have right now. And so I love that I implement that in a lot that I do. People know me for that, as you said. And, I go through with that kind of mindset in life, and I'm just going to camp. It's not as serious as we're making it. I have seen serious, I have seen the worst, and a lot of times we make things that are not that serious into something much more than it needs to be, and it overwhelms us, it derails us, and we got to go, okay, let's just stop it then. But the other thing that I want to note real quick on the crying and different things like that, I'm going to tell you, I am a person that will break down and cry, behind the scenes. People don't see it, and I'll do that for a moment. But then it's like, okay, what is this achieving for me at the moment? Is this helping my situation? Is this going to move me forward? No, it's not serving me. So I still take those moments for myself to take that time to cry and scream and do whatever I got to do, get it out of my system and move forward. But again, a lot of times people don't see that. They just see, oh, he's calm, collective all the time. But no, there's times where I do that breakdown too. And I just don't want to ever create that illusion for people that go through that and go, well, that person's able to do it without going through these pain points. No, I still go through them. Just like everybody else, we just create our own system to move past that. So just want to share
Right.
that.
So one of the things that you shared with me in the very beginning, when we first met, was about you carrying the cross for uh, the length of Illinois. Um, can you share the amount of awareness that you created through that, and then also even the byproduct of it? Uh, for me, doing this month, this awareness part, one of the things of your story, it really inspired me to do something outside the box, but something to really show my discipline and then also consistency. And I was really taken to your story and inspired by it. And I haven't really explained this to you before until you got on here, but that was one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on here, was to be able to tell you that those things like that are inspiration to me, is to find people who go outside the box. Can you share a little bit about that experience, but also of sowing seeds when you unknowingly realize like what it blossoms?
Yeah, no, it was a point in my time where I had lost my first company. I had a limousine company built on an entire fleet and had lost that, and my identity was wrapped in that. And I was trying to figure out who I was at that point. And I was in church and I was praying, and then all of a sudden it just came to me, I need to carry a cross. Now I was kind of doing this, I call this my Forrest Gump phase, when he got upset and he just started running. Well, I was like, okay, and it was a way, really, when I was doing this, wasn't, it sounds kind of selfish, but in a way it was. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to reach people. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to be a beacon for the world. I did it because I was trying to figure out who I was, and this was a journey I wanted to take on self-discovery. So when I first started this, it wasn't under huge noble cause. I wish I could say that that was the case. However, as I started with this journey, the people that I ran across, so many hundreds and hundreds of people, prostitutes, drug addicts, you name it, pimps, I mean everything, came to that cross, and complete strangers were opening their lives up to me in moments. They were showing me the most vulnerable side of them that they hadn't shown who knows who in the world for how many years, if ever. And these people that just met me in a moment, man, would break down. And I mean, so many people that I was holding up, literally. And it was absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, like I said, I ran into people, and what was so amazing is that we ran into people when they needed it the most. And that was inspiring, humbling. I mean, I just can't fully describe the feeling that goes through knowing that you were there at a point that was most essential in somebody's life and created that space that changed something pivotal in their life. It's awesome. And as a coach, you do that. You were at times, people are there, but doing this with this cross was just something phenomenal. And I'm going to tell you, it was very scary for me when I first started doing it. I remember I first came to Rockford, Illinois. That's where I started. It's at the top of Illinois. And I circled around that town for, I don't know, 2 hours. Oh, this isn't a good spot to start. This isn't a good spot to start. And I was shaking. I was like, what am I doing? I'm out here carrying this cross, all this other stuff. I mean, everything in the world that I didn't want to do it when I came to do it. And once I started, man, it was just like this peace. And it was just amazing to see. Real quick, I got to share this one story to show you an example. I was
Sure.
in Bloomington, Illinois, and there was a lady standing on a corner of an apartment complex. I decided I wanted to walk up and talk to this lady. Came, I had a pastor with me. All of a sudden, we get up there, and this lady, another lady, comes busting out of the apartment, comes down, falls at our feet, just hysterically crying. What is going on? I don't know what's happening. Then somebody taps me on the shoulder. I look over, somebody's asking me questions. I turn around, and the pastor I'm with is now on the ground with this lady talking with her. Great, she's handled. So I go and I'm talking to people, and I'm telling you, it was like you had to hand out tickets. They just came one after another out of the woodwork, coming to talk to the cross. So after about 2 hours of doing this, I finally got done talking with people and wanted to find out what was going on with this lady. It turned out that she had a friend that had died earlier that night, and she was ready to give up. And she said, God, if you're there, show me a sign that you're real. And then, right in front of her window, I showed up at that moment with that cross.
Wow.
Those are things that I saw constantly that showed me that there is a real plan. And so that journey was more than just a self-discovery for me. It just opened up a whole new world. It showed me how God really is in control. One after the other, a solid month of seeing that. We had at least 50 people give their life to Christ on the streets, people that would never step into a church. I didn't go for that. Absolutely amazing. So I got to meet a lot of people. I got to see some wonderful things. And even now, my videos still pop up every now and then on somebody's feed somewhere. They come across it and I get a random message. Here it is, so many years later, and somebody's like, I just saw a video that inspired me. Wow. Amazing. So it's still continuing to go. And the stories I share from it and everything else. So it was one heck of a journey. I'm going to tell you, it was awesome.
Man, that's amazing. And I love the fact that you were a messenger and didn't even realize like that you were a messenger at times. And that's also,
Yeah.
that's the God part of it, is we don't know. Um,
Well, that goes with that show up to win, like you said. We might not even have a plan. Show up. That's what you need to do. That's the first step. Once you show up, the next steps will come into place. We got to take that first show up thing. So if I hadn't even gone out and just showed up with that, then what happened wouldn't have happened. So
right. So to give more context about showing up, like show up to win. Show up to win is about showing up with an intention and being present for the awareness to be able for a outcome to come across. Same thing when
uh,
you were in Rockford and you were driving around and you were looking to begin. You were looking for the right type of stuff, but also you were fighting self-doubt too at the same time. So for you to win was taking that first step to just start. Like, hey, pick a corner, go, right? So that's the thing, is you also had to be present, and you also had to be aware of like, hey, I want to start here. That's really the mentality of my brand, is to just be present and be able to be aware. So my next question, man, is going to be, the cool thing about you is how you support others, but also how you're knowledgeable, you're relatable about things. How important is it? And you shared, but you were like, dude, I cry. Like, I'm emotional. I get angry. How important is that for you to share with others that you're supporting? That like, hey, I'm a human also. Like I go through that. What's your thoughts on that?
I believe it's essential. A lot of times people get this illusion that they see somebody that's achieved a certain thing, and they're at a point in life that they want to be, and they look at them and say, I want to be there. However, I've got this and this and this going on in my life. When somebody who's at that point comes out and said, I had to go through this and this and this, and that person that's at that point now is sitting there going, wow, okay, I'm there too. I can overcome this. I can move forward with that. I think it's essential that we show people that, so they're not just under some illusion that that person was perfect and they have to follow through with all these perfect things, and then they become frustrated when they mess up. They don't feel like they're good enough. They now created this impossible standard that they're never going to be able to achieve, and they defeated themselves before they even started. So having a coach that's open and saying, hey, these are the obstacles that you will run across in life or could run across in life, but we can overcome them together, that's a whole different mindset. And it's going, okay, now I don't have to hide from these. I open up, I look at these, I face these, I'm not alone. Now we can do this and go forward. And I'm not ashamed to buy it. So hopefully that answers
Yeah, no,
for
that's
you.
a great answer. So, one of the other similarities you and I have is the medical history and having the stigma around the medical history and figuring a way to push on through it. And maybe it's not the best that we could possibly do to them, but it's the best that we could do at that particular time. Share your mentality behind when you're working on a big project and you've got this momentum and then something happens that takes that away, and share the mental health part of just having a health issue where uh, it's an invisible health issue with your heart. It's not something that other people can see either. Share a little bit on that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. That's you nailed it. First off, most people look at me, and initially when they see me, they're like, "You're a perfectly healthy person." And we know that I have 13 stents in my heart. I've gone under so many different surgeries, and I've got a lot of other heart issues, blood disorder, all these other things that nobody can see on the outside, and I deal with those all the time. And I think first that is a frustrating thing because when people they look at you and they have these expectations, and when you don't live up to expectations, now they look at you as a lesser person at times with certain things. And it's not because you don't want to show up, it's because your health prevents you or something prevents you, and it's frustrating. The hard thing when you lose your health is being able to accept that you're not going to be running 24/7 like you were. You have to sit there and you have to change and adapt. And now, when I schedule things flexible. I'm not filling up all my time with stuff that's not important. I'm sitting here going in meetings. I used to do meetings with people. Not now. I want to straighten this out. Not that talking to everybody isn't important. Everybody is important. Everybody's story is important. So, and I know people know that. I just want to make sure we clarify. I'm talking about when it comes to business, things like that that'll help you move forward. I spent I don't know how many hours and hours and time with people that are just tire kickers, and so you had to sit there and I had to take my time and say, okay, my time is now valuable to me. And I think that was the big thing that's a positive from this health is understanding the value of my time. A lot of times we don't do that, and now I'm sitting here going, look, my healthy days are very valuable. That time is very valuable. So I shift and I'm going, okay, now I've got to fill that with the priorities and not the other crap. But those days where you sit there and you're going, okay, I have to push 24/7 are done, and that's hard for the mind to wrap around. What I do is I shift and go, okay, what can I do now? What can I do with limitations? What will still make me money when I am sick and have those bad days? On my good days, I'm spending time setting up so that I have something coming in for those bad days. And when they derail me, and like you were talking about, is when I'm sitting there on projects and different things and I get into a groove just like everybody else, something can come along, like I said, with the health. I'm back in the hospital, I'm derailed. And a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, it's the people that I'm around, that I associate with, my friends, that get me back on track. They help me to stay focused. Having good people that I'm surrounded with to lift me up and say, okay, I know you're having a bad day, but are you able to do some things here? Yes, I am. Okay, let's get those going. And they help pick me up. I lived most of my life trying to do everything on my own, and I've realized that it is so much better in life when we find the right people around us that will help us and lift us up. A lot of times we surround ourselves with people that make us feel comfortable instead of people that'll help get us out of the comfort zone and push us to where we've got to be. And that's also a distinction. We've got to find those people that are where we want to be. And and like I said, with the right mentality that'll come along and work with you. So that's essential to helping me move forward with everything I've done. Faith in other people, faith in God, and it's been wonderful when I've done that.
Yeah. Having support is one thing. Having the right type of support is a totally different thing. And it also comes with a period of being being open to it too. That's another thing that you shared was like being open to it. One of the things that I feel like would be the next question for me is when you identify that with other people, how can you support them? Because ultimately that's the thing is to take those type of experiences and find other people that are having those experiences to help support them through it. Where's the challenge for you to find those type of people, and when you see them, like how do you feel like you're able to be supportive?
It's interesting. Things are usually a case by case. A lot of times, it's because of the experiences. I don't need to make a checklist of things. A lot of times, with people of things that I've gone through. I don't need to tell people what I have gone through. When all I do is make a space, and my experiences from life will automatically they kick in and help me to be able to do or say what I need to say most of the time for that person at that time. And the stories of things come out during that. When people are coming with problems that they have, yeah, it's good. Hey, yeah, I've been through some of this stuff, but a lot of times you have coaches or you have people that are so focused on what they've been through, and they're spending most of their time explaining what they've been through to other people, trying to prove to them I can relate with what you have. Whereas I'm just kind of like, what do you need? What do we got? And then it just develops as it's going to go. Same thing like when I carried the cross, a lot of people were like, did you use Romans Road? What did you use when you approach people carrying the cross? I tell them I just said, hello. And whatever was going to happen was going to happen. There was no, certain, but because of the experiences that I had, I was able to make that space and give answers and be there for people with that. And a lot of times it's just a lot of noise that's just in the way for people. So, kind of my roundabout way of answering that one.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to answer it. So we are about almost out of time for the 30 minutes. What I would like for you to share with people is what you're doing now, the project of it, but also the scope of how you're able to help people that are in the same type of circumstance as you are, and how important that is.
Yeah, so right now I'm working on a platform that will help people become visible online. So I've been working with Agentic AI, and basically that's going in and you are creating your own little bots, as people know them, that are able to go and build something, and you build a team that does that. So I've learned that, and I've built this platform that will identify for different businesses, coaches, where their online presence is, so they know, can people see me, where am I missing all these huge gaps that are going on that people don't know about, and then we give them solutions to be able to fix that at a very reasonable price. And we've made it so it's a white label for a limited amount of people, so that we give others the opportunity to serve other businesses out there, make money at the same time, and lift other people up. My whole thing is that I want to see people that are out there really trying to make something happen become visible. That's the biggest problem that we have, and there's so many great stories, so many great programs that so many would benefit from. It's just that they're not seen. So this is my solution to it. I'm going, okay, I saw a problem. I'm going, how do I fix this? I made a platform that can do that. And that's really what I enjoy, is finding where, hey, what can I do to fix a problem we have so that you can help do what you need to do and become successful and change those lives. And so I am absolutely loving what I'm doing right now.
Man, it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing that project and the scope of it and the impact that it's going to bring to others. So JD, man, I want to say thank you for being a part of this. And,
Thank you
for me is like, these podcasts are almost like numbers for me. After you get done, it's like, okay, now, this is episode 29. I have 30 tomorrow. I have one more to go.
One
and
more.
to think of how this came about, and then also think about how fast it went by, man. It's wild.
Right.
Because you were one of the first people I asked when the vision happened on that first day. But now we're down to 1 day, and so man, I just want to say thanks again for showing up for this, and then we'll have episode 30 tomorrow, and then tomorrow night, we have the weekly recap. We're actually gonna do the whole month recap at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and then 5 Pacific time. And I'm really looking forward to celebrating this. And man, I'm glad you could be a part of this, man. So yeah, I'll let you do the dance
celebration.
again.
I'm over here. I'm going to celebrate already. There we go.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
it's a pleasure to be a part of this, man. Thank you so much.
yeah, absolutely, man. And I couldn't have done this without you, and so I appreciate that. So anyway, this is episode 29. Episode 30 is tomorrow. Looking forward to it. My next guest is. I'm gonna wait. I want to make sure he confirms first before. But yeah, no, we've had a couple of guests, man, that haven't been able to come through, and so we've been having to. So I want to make sure that he is like okay to come. So, but yeah, tomorrow same time. Looking forward to it. I'll talk to y'all later.
Fantastic.